When I was rushed to the hospital for a perforated stomach ulcer, Jason said he was on a business trip in another city. But on his first Love's WeChat moments, that night, there was a picture of a pair of hands under the fireworks, looking so romantic yet stinging to my eyes. When I was queuing up for a color Doppler ultrasound with my ailing body, Jason, who was supposed to be on a business trip thousands of miles away, was actually holding his first Love's waist and also queuing up for a prenatal checkup. He sprayed the chair with alcohol spray again and again, wiped it over and over, and then gently helped her sit down. But to me, he had once sneered that alcohol was a waste of money and refused to use it firmly. Later, when I said I wanted a divorce, Jason went crazy begging me. Nora, I'll listen to whatever you say from now on. When I come back from outside, I'll spray alcohol all over myself. Let's get back together, okay? I replied firmly, no. His eyes were red. Then what do you want to do? I promise to make you satisfied. I sneered and looked up. It's easy. Take out your heart and spray it with alcohol to disinfect it. Where's your family member? The situation is urgent. We need the family member to sign immediately. The doctor kept asking while examining me. The overwhelming pain made it hard for me to breathe. I don't know how many times I called Jason, but no one answered. Beads of sweat as big as beans kept rolling down my forehead. I just felt as if thousands of arrows were piercing through my body. In a daze, a second before I passed out, my phone rang. When I woke up again in a daze, I was already lying in the hospital ward. My best friend Chloe was wiping the sweat on my forehead while scolding Jason. Son of a bitch. I don't believe it. No matter how busy he is, he doesn't even have a moment to look at his phone? On the 6th day of Jason's business trip, I suddenly had an acute perforated stomach ulcer. Seeing that I woke up, Chloe asked me with concern how I was feeling and if there was anywhere else uncomfortable. I shook my head. Much better. Thank you, dear. Pass me my phone. I called Jason again, twice, but still no one answered. Looking through the call records, 4 hours ago, Chloe had already called Jason several times using my phone, all were unanswered. She had also left messages on WeChat and text messages. There was no reply either. Suddenly, before I could feel sad, a cloud of suspicion rose in my heart for no reason. Yesterday when I was tidying up Jason's clothes, a bottle of alcohol spray fell out of his pocket. Coincidentally, when I drove his car in the morning, I also found a bottle of alcohol spray in the storage box in the car. I couldn't help but wonder. Not to mention now, even during those special 3 years before, Jason would never use this stuff. He sneered that it was a waste of money. In a trance, my phone rang several times. Nora, are you feeling better? I was in a meeting all the time just now. I had my phone on silent. When I saw your message, I was so worried about you. Should I fly back now? By the way, Chloe is with you, right? With her by your side, I feel much more relieved. I'm at a dinner party now. It's too noisy, so I won't call you. Take good care of yourself and I'll try to go back as soon as possible. I replied, I'm still feeling very sick. The doctor said that if I hadn't been sent to the hospital in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. He replied instantly, my wife is blessed by heaven. By the way, I just placed an order for a stomach-nourishing tea for you and also prepared a surprise gift for you. Wait for me to come home. Jason's reaction and attitude were completely different from what I expected. I felt an indescribable discomfort in my heart. Holding my phone, I looked at the ceiling with my eyes wandering. I typed and deleted words again and again. Finally, I just asked, when will you come back? There was no reply from the other side. I felt so aggrieved. In the end, I didn't tell him about that thing either. After being in a daze for a while, I opened the photo gallery as if possessed and selected the photo of that bottle of alcohol spray, wanting to send it to him. But my mind was in such a mess that suddenly I didn't want to send it anymore. I opened my WeChat moments, finally got it done. Working hard to build a wonderful and happy future for the one I love. 10 minutes ago, Jason updated a WeChat moment. The attached picture was his open laptop, and the interface looked like a page of his project PPT. The important details were blurred out. I zoomed in on the picture with 2 fingers and clearly saw that the date in the lower right corner showed November 13, 2023. What's the date today? November 16th. Seeing that I frowned slightly, Chloe opened her phone to confirm again, today is November 16th. What's wrong? Is it an important day? I shook my head, nothing. Just asking casually. I turned off my phone and lay on my side facing the window quietly. Waves of nausea and abdominal pain came one after another. Finally, after the 4 drip was finished and my condition gradually stabilized, Chloe had a baby to take care of at home. After much persuasion from me, she went back. Dingling, dingling, my phone finally rang. A low, hoarse, and gentle male voice came from it. Nora, I'm finally done with my work. Are you feeling better? Did you finish the PPT? I asked abruptly. Huh? Jason didn't expect me to ask this and was stunned for a moment, then replied smoothly, yes, I did. This client was really difficult. I spent 2 days on this PPT and just got it done tonight. As soon as I finished my work, I immediately called my wife. You're sick, and your husband is really worried. I can't wait to fly to your side to take care of you. I asked calmly again for confirmation, is it the PPT you posted on your WeChat moments? Jason was full of pride and affirmed to me, yes, your husband's plan this time is amazing. The client is very satisfied. I curled my lips and smiled slightly, really? You put a lot of effort into it. Baby, I'm sorry. I'm mainly responsible for your illness this time. I couldn't take good care of you at home. I feel so guilty. Jason's tone returned to normal, affectionate and gentle. I paused, I want to tell you one thing, that Jason suddenly interrupted me, Nora, I can't talk to you now. There's an important client calling in. I'll call you back later. Listening to the beep, beep, busy tone, I felt like there was a huge rock pressing on my chest, making me feel stuffy and blocked. Countless thoughts rushed out and crashed around in my head. During the long night, only the lingering smell of disinfectant and the occasional beeping of the pager in the corridor accompanied me. The nausea and abdominal pain intertwined repeatedly, and the pain became more and more intense. Cold sweat poured down like a river. After the on-duty doctor examined me, she said everything was normal. Due to my special condition, many drugs couldn't be used, so only conservative treatment was available. Where's your family member? At this time, it would be much better if you had a family member with you. She looked around the ward and, finding that I was alone, couldn't help but ask. I looked at my phone. There were only the caring messages and instructions from Chloe. He's on a business trip in another city. Then you can make a video call with him to talk and distract yourself a bit too. I endured the pain and, still not giving up, dialed Jason's phone again. After several beeps, a female voice came, sorry, the number you dialed is temporarily unavailable. I don't know when I fell asleep. In my dream, Jason came back. His hands were warm and strong, with a faint smell of cedar. I took his hand and placed it on my abdomen. Just as I was about to tell him, my phone rang. After answering a call, he left in a hurry. Boom, crack, I don't know how long it had been. I thought I was still in the dream. I raised my hand and rubbed my eyes, only to find that the corners of my eyes were wet. It turned out that there were fireworks outside. I opened the curtain and held onto the bed railing to look out of the window. In the direction of Erin Lake, clusters of brilliant and gorgeous fireworks rose and fell, lighting up and then extinguishing the night. The night sky brightened and darkened, like a man's heaving chest, and the booming and cracking sounds were just like a woman's giggles. I took out my phone and took a picture. Suddenly, a friend request popped up on WeChat. Nickname, Scarlett. I accepted it. But neither of us said anything. The fireworks lasted for about 20 minutes. I closed the curtain and saw that she had updated a WeChat moment. Thank you for accompanying me on my birthday. Our love is like these blazing fireworks, burning out a vast sky and earth. There were 2 attached pictures, looking so romantic yet stinging to my eyes. One was a night scene of fireworks snapped by the Erin Lake. Another one was a close-up of a man and a woman holding hands. The woman was wearing an emerald green jade bracelet on her wrist, while the man had no adornments on his hands. However, the scar on the man's forearm with its unique shape stabbed my eyes painfully. 6 years ago, on a misty morning, an off-road vehicle was speeding towards me like crazy. I was riding my bicycle and was so scared that I almost lost my reaction. In a daze, a white SUV came speeding towards me, honking its horn. Immediately after, a huge and screeching sound of brakes burst out on the ground. In the blink of an eye, this white SUV hit the tree beside it and then came to a stop sideways next to me. Only then did the off-road vehicle react and quickly stepped on the brakes. Finally, it hit the flower bed beside it before coming to a halt. I was unharmed, but Jason had 8 stitches on his forearm because of this accident. I was very worried about him and also felt guilty, but on Jason's handsome face with sharp contours, there was a bright and carefree smile. He said, it's okay. I'm a big man with thick skin. As long as you're fine, that's all that matters. The heart-shaped scar looks quite nice actually. Whether he was comforting me or not, to be honest, at that moment, I did have a good impression of him. But due to my personality, I didn't show any particular reaction. Later, we would always meet unexpectedly. Then, at a matchmaking event organized by our work units, I found that he was also there. Only then did I belatedly realize that he probably liked me too. Finally, on my 25th birthday, he confessed his love to me. 1 year later, we naturally walked into the marriage hall. After marriage, Jason was as gentle to me as always. He said that I was really his lucky star. Since marrying me, his career had been developing better and better, and later he became the general manager of a district. Once, that heart-shaped scar had brought about our marriage. Now, that scar was like a shining knife demanding interest, cutting my heart painfully. I pulled myself out of my thoughts and wiped the mottled tear stains on the screen of my phone. I found that Jason had changed his WeChat profile picture. It had been changed to a bright moon. Opening his WeChat moments, under the note he posted in the afternoon, I saw a comment, "Hard work," followed by a heart-shaped emoji. It was a comment from the one named Scarlett. I clicked the like button below it. 04 After a while, when I looked again, that WeChat moment had been deleted. Throughout the whole night, Jason didn't call me back. He only sent a WeChat message, "Nora, have a good rest. I'll give you a big surprise tomorrow." When the doctor made the rounds in the morning, I was in much better condition and could eat some liquid food. I couldn't borrow a wheelchair. Afraid of being late and having to wait in a long queue for the color Doppler ultrasound since it was just downstairs, I dragged my ailing body and went down. While queuing up for the color Doppler ultrasound on the second floor, out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of a familiar pair of figures not far away. The man was tall and was holding a young woman. The woman was wearing a white fur coat and her belly was slightly bulging. Just then, a seat beside the corridor became vacant. I was just about to step forward when unexpectedly, the man was one step ahead of me and strode over quickly. The woman followed closely behind. Just as she was about to sit down, she was pulled back by the man beside her with a smile. "Wait a moment. So many people in the hospital have sat on this chair. It's not clean. Let me disinfect it," he explained to her gently with a smile in his eyes. The woman tossed her hair and said in a coquettish tone, "It's not necessary. It looks quite clean." The man curled his lips and said in a persistent and gentle tone, "You're pregnant. This is something you must pay attention to." Saying that, he skillfully took out an alcohol spray and carefully sprayed the chair inside and out several times. Then he wiped it repeatedly with dry tissue several times before gently helping the woman to sit down. Looking at the scene in front of me, I felt as if I were in a dream. This man was exactly Jason who had told me he was on a business trip thousands of miles away. The past rushed in like a tide that had broken through the floodgates. My heart felt as if it had been stung by a swarm of bees, throbbing with pain. I remembered that during the 3 years of the epidemic, every time Jason came back from outside, he refused to spray alcohol. What's more exaggerated was that once, when he came back from the hospital, I saw him throw the dirty express delivery box he had just brought back directly onto the bed without even washing his hands before starting to open the package. I got angry. The express delivery box has passed through many places during transportation. It's very dirty. How could you put it on the bed sheet I just changed? You just came back from the hospital. During this special period, at least wash your hands and spray the express delivery box with alcohol before opening it, okay? Jason gave me a mischievous smile and didn't take it seriously. As the old saying goes, you won't get sick if you're not too clean. Alcohol is just a waste of money. It's just for psychological comfort. This was the only disagreement between us. Back then, it was he who mocked me, saying that spraying alcohol was a waste of money. Now, for another woman, in a place with disinfection standards and a healthy and safe environment, it was also he who was carefully spraying alcohol. My breathing gradually became rapid. I clenched my fists, and my fingernails dug deep into my flesh. I kept reminding myself in my heart, "Nora, don't be impulsive. Don't be impulsive. You're the only one who feels the pain of your own body." After calming down a bit, I looked down at the millet and pumpkin porridge I was holding in my hand and walked straight over. With an my right foot was very obedient and just twisted a bit. The millet and pumpkin porridge I was holding spilled all over the woman along with my falling body. "Oh my God. You damn!" Immediately, a shrill scream exploded behind me. For some reason, the tone that was originally going to curse me was suddenly stopped by her. Immediately after, the woman changed her tone and pitifully complained to the man beside her in a soft and weak voice, "Jason, this person is so rude. I feel so nauseous and want to vomit." Suddenly, the originally noisy waiting area became quiet. Everyone turned to look at me. Seeing that I didn't show any intention of stopping to apologize, the man was so angry that he rushed up to me in 3 steps and 2 strides, grabbed my arm, and was overbearing and domineering. "Hey, you stop right there. Are you crazy? Can't you walk properly?" He didn't even finish the rest of the words. I suddenly turned around and said calmly, "Yes, I am sick." No. How could it be? You. Jason's pupils suddenly shrank. He was stuttering and his grip on my arm was trembling slightly. This was the first time I had seen Jason so flustered and uneasy. I stared straight into his eyes, but his gaze was dodging back and forth. He asked with a lack of confidence, "Nora, weren't you in the hospital? Why are you here?" I ignored him and sneered as I looked at the woman opposite. She had a slender neck and a beautiful face. She was indeed the type that men liked. However, her white fur coat was full of lumps of food residue. She was looking down, disgustedly wiping it with tissues continuously. On her wrist, the emerald green jade bracelet was shining with a crystal clear green color in the light coming through the window. I was so angry that I laughed and pointed to the sign beside us. Jason, look clearly. This is the color Doppler ultrasound room in the hospital. Why do you think I'm here? I'm a patient. I'm here for an examination. Is there anything strange about that? On the contrary, I should be the one asking you. Why are you here? Is this the so-called big, sir, prize that you sent me at 1 o'clock in the morning? Jason's eyes flickered for a moment, and the panic between his eyebrows gradually disappeared. He slightly averted his gaze, let out a long sigh, and then said to me with a smile on his brow, Nora, since you've found out, I might as well tell you. I originally wanted to give you a surprise. Nora? Is it really you? Suddenly, a female voice interrupted Jason's words. I looked in the direction of the voice. When the woman in the fur coat saw me, her eyes lit up as if she had seen an old friend. She got up and walked towards me. It was Scarlett. Jason's first love. She blinked her big, innocent, and pure eyes. She was even more charming and attractive when seen from the front than from the side. Even though I had expected such a scene in my heart, when experiencing it personally, I still felt like being electrocuted, and my whole body shivered. Hearing Scarlett's voice, in an instant, Jason instinctively turned around and quickly walked forward to meet her, gently holding her and softly instructing, be careful. The floor is slippery. The bouts of stomach pain, like a raging tornado, surged up again. I was just about to cover my stomach with my hand when Scarlett grabbed my hand and enthusiastically started reminiscing with me. Wow, it's been years since we last saw each other, Nora. You're in a hospital gown. I really didn't recognize you at all. Hee, you haven't changed much. You still have a soft spot for fox fur. It suits you perfectly. I gritted my teeth and tried my best to endure the pain, not wanting to look so embarrassed in front of Scarlett. However, the pain was getting stronger and stronger. I pulled my hand back and tried to cover my stomach. I was slender, and being a patient, I was in pain all over my body and had hardly any strength. But the moment I pulled my hand back, I clearly saw Scarlett, who was wearing high heels, sway weakly a few times. Seeing this, Jason quickly hugged her. There was undisguised nervousness and genuine concern in his eyes. From start to finish, Jason didn't look at me again, nor did he notice my action of covering my stomach. Only after confirming that Scarlett was all right did Jason turn to look at me. He frowned slightly and scolded me in a low voice, Nora, Scarlett is pregnant. How could you do this? I forced back the sourness in my nose, took a deep breath, and covered my stomach as I questioned him, Jason, what did I do? Jason looked displeased, Nora, stop making a fuss. Scarlett is on pregnancy preservation. Boundless sadness, like the pouring rain in summer, instantly filled my whole heart and spread freely to every inch of my body. My body couldn't help trembling. Suddenly, there was a sense of absurdity as if our identities had been reversed. It was as if he and Scarlett were the couple. And I was the one, the redundant outsider. I remembered that once, I needed to work with a colleague to complete a project. As a result, due to a serious mistake in the part of the work she was responsible for, the company ultimately lost a major project. But she refused to admit it. Relying on her special relationship with the leader, she privately rallied other colleagues to isolate me and falsely accused me of leaking the plan to our competitors in advance. I was both aggrieved and angry. I quietly built up my strength, thinking of changing jobs when the right opportunity came. Who would have thought that, by accident, Jason found out about this? He held me in his arms, patted my back, and comforted me earnestly, Nora, I will always believe in you. As long as I'm here, I will never let you suffer the slightest injustice. Back then, his tender eyes were full of my reflection. Not long after that, the woman was suddenly fired. The leader's wife directly threw hot coffee in the woman's face in front of the whole company and even scratched her face with her long nails. Anyway, the scene was really horrible. I opened the video I had taken and showed it to Jason. He didn't even look up, but the corners of his mouth couldn't help rising, and he simply said 2 words, she deserved it. Thinking of this, the unruly tears finally fell. Once, it was he who rushed forward regardless of all dangers for my sake. Once, it was also he who believed in me so much and said firmly that he would never let me suffer the slightest injustice. What about now? I couldn't help but wonder, perhaps? Does loving someone have an expiration date? I don't know if it's lucky or unlucky. The love of the man I chose has an expiration date of only 6 years. No, not even 6 years. Seeing me crying, the tension and panic I had been expecting finally appeared in Jason's eyes. He let go of the hand that was holding Scarlett and wanted to come and hold me. Nora, it's not what you think. I'll explain it to you later. I covered my stomach and took a step back, trembling as I said, don't touch me. Scarlett glanced at me and gracefully explained, Nora, Jason saw me queuing up alone with a big belly and couldn't bear it, so he helped me queue for a while. I thought you would understand him. If I had known you were summoned, I would have queued up by myself today. Jason, Nora is sick and in a bad mood. You should comfort her well. After saying that, Scarlett turned around and left nonchalantly. What a clever trick of playing hard to get. Jason's heart was completely in her hands. After the examination, Jason somehow got a wheelchair. I ignored him and walked straight ahead. Unexpectedly, he picked me up from behind and gently placed me in the wheelchair. Back in the ward, when I ignored him, he tried all kinds of ways to please me. One moment he was covering me with a quilt, and the next he was massaging my legs. I tried hard to break free from him, but he wasn't angry. His face remained unchanged as he continued to massage me on his own. Then, ignoring my resistance, he domineeringly held my hand in his and gently pressed it against his cheek. From his eyes, I clearly saw the pity and guilt. He confided in me, "Nora, when I heard that you were sick, I was so worried that I couldn't concentrate on work. I booked a plane ticket right away and arrived at the hospital in the middle of the night yesterday." Middle of the night? Hearing this, I sat up straight in shock. Jason gently patted the back of my hand and explained to me in a soothing tone, "Yes, Nora. When I came back yesterday, you were sleeping soundly, holding my hand and talking in your sleep." I looked puzzled, staring at Jason's left forearm with his sleeves rolled up, lost in thought. Jason followed my gaze and looked down. The focus just fell on his heart-shaped scar. Seeing my blank expression, he got up and affectionately scraped the tip of my nose. "Baby, you look so cute when you talk in your sleep, like a cute little girl, eager to share something nice with me." I was stunned. So, it wasn't a dream? Third time, Jason, seeing that I didn't dodge, Jason thought I had calmed down. He let out a sigh of relief, and his grip on my hand became even more gentle and natural. Before I could say anything else, Jason smiled bitterly and helplessly and took the initiative to confess to me, "I know you want to ask about Scarlett, right? Yesterday, after I arrived at the hospital, Scarlett suddenly called me, saying that her parents were forcing her to abort the baby. She was heartbroken and wanted to jump off a building. You know how hard we've been trying to have a child these years. So I was afraid she might really do something stupid, so I went to find her. She came for a re-examination this morning. I originally planned to go find you after queuing up with her. Who would have thought that you'd see us just like that? Nora, there's really nothing between me and Scarlett. I just regard her as an ordinary friend. She looked so pitiful all by herself, and I just wanted to help her. That's all." That's all. All kinds of affectionate little gestures, a series of instinctive reactions subconsciously, and the meticulous disinfection over and over again that broke his usual habits. The truth is revealed in the details. I really wanted to ask. "Jason, what about the date on that PPT? You who have always scorned alcohol, why are you carrying an alcohol spray with you? Also, what about that photo of a man and a woman holding hands on Scarlett's WeChat moments?" Just as I was about to open my mouth, Jason's phone on the bedside table rang. The caller ID showed, Scarlett. After glancing at the screen, Jason hung up without hesitation and pretended to be magnanimous as he explained to me, "She probably wants to thank me. I don't need it." After saying that, he picked up the kettle and went out. While I was thinking about how to tell him about that matter in my heart, a WeChat message popped up on Jason's phone. "Jason, the doctor said the baby is fine. Thank you for your company day and night these days. I couldn't have gotten through it without you. Is Nora feeling better? These days? Day and night?" After seeing these words, my body couldn't help trembling, and my heart plunged into an ice cellar in an instant. Fourth time, Jason. Jason, who had just come back from getting water outside, didn't notice the change in my expression. He told me with joy, "Nora, I've prepared a surprise gift for you. You can see it when you get out of the hospital and go home." I twitched the corners of my mouth, being polite and distant, "Thank you." Suddenly, I felt that the man in front of me was so strange. All of those questions I had just now, I didn't want to ask them anymore in an instant. Even if I did ask, so what? He must have 1,000 reasonable and perfect explanations waiting for me. I'm tired, weary, and don't want to listen anymore. Everything is meaningless. Why on earth is this happening? Obviously, nothing has changed, but overnight, everything has changed. I lowered my eyes, and some thoughts began to brew in my mind. I stretched out my hand, and the nurse sister skillfully disinfected the back of my hand and inserted the needle. I abruptly picked up the thread of the conversation from what Jason had said earlier. "Really? Then she must be quite pitiful all by herself. You should care more about her usually." His hand that was peeling an apple paused. "Huh." Jason was stunned for a moment at first, but quickly realized that I was talking about Scarlett, so he playfully flattered me, "I knew it. Wife, you're the most magnanimous." I clearly heard him let out a sigh of relief. He handed me the peeled apple and gently praised, "Nora, why are you so nice? You're always thinking about others." Seeing this, the nurse sister glared at Jason, shook her head in helplessness. "Hey, I'm talking to you, the family member. Where's your mind? Do you know how to take care of people? Your wife has a stomachache. She hasn't recovered yet. Can she eat your cold and hard apple? Hearing this, Jason awkwardly took back the apple and apologized repeatedly. Sorry. I forgot. Then he quickly changed the topic. By the way, Nora, did you sleep well last night? Being suddenly brought up by him, the nightmare-like pain from last night, like a sleeping beast being awakened, made my brows furrow involuntarily. Before I could open my mouth, the quick-tongued nurse sister directly spoke for me. She said to Jason in an unfriendly tone, "Humph. Be more confident. Drop that question mark at the end. For someone with a stom." I quickly gave the nurse sister a wink, and she quickly got what I meant and cleverly adjusted. For someone with a bad stomachache like her, the first night is basically spent in agony. Even if she sleeps, it's because she passed out from the pain. Jason rubbed my hands, looking apologetic. Nora, I'm sorry to have made you suffer. When we get home, I'll make it up to you with good food. Jason really did what he said. After being discharged from the hospital and going home, he was extremely considerate to me, trying every way to please me. His surprise gift also arrived as promised. He bought me the handbag that I had been longing for a long time. He got up early in the morning and left work early in the evening, cooking all kinds of delicious food for me in different ways. He also specially bought a health preservation cookbook, learning about nutrition matching and plate arrangement aesthetics. He ordered different kinds of fresh flowers for me every day, putting a bouquet in every corner, making our home look like a small garden. I didn't throw tantrums or show any bad temper. I had a regular daily routine, being quiet, eating when I should eat, and sleeping when I should sleep. At the beginning, Jason was a little worried. Later, seeing that I really didn't mention Scarlett's matter anymore, he felt relieved. After taking a few days off, I went to work. Every day after work, Jason was already busy in the kitchen. I was happy to be idle. I either did some soothing yoga or immersed myself in the study, reading books, studying, and writing articles one after another. Besides my main job, my side job in the field of social media was also thriving. During this period, Scarlett called Jason several times, but he refused her right in front of me. I don't have time. I have to accompany Nora. For this, Jason even proudly took credit in front of me. Wife, I've been performing well lately, right? My heart is too small to hold anyone but you. Not even one more person. I moved my eyes away from the book and gave him a slight smile. Really? What about if it's your daughter? Daughter? Hearing the word daughter, Jason's eyes sparkled with hopeful light. He hugged me tightly in his arms. You and our daughter are both my treasures. Jason liked children very much. As a big man, besides watching football games, he also watched Where Are We Going, Dad, over and over again. He especially liked the warm scenes of fathers and daughters in it. At that time, I often teased him that he was a slave to his daughter. I teased him, to be on the safe side, I'd better give you a chubby little boy. I'm afraid of losing your favor if I give you a daughter. Jason hugged me affectionately in his arms and promised me earnestly, Nora, in our family, you'll always be number one, the baby will be number two, and I'll be number three. Listening to his sweet words, I was full of anticipation. I secretly wondered what kind of father Jason would be if we really had a baby in the future. Contrary to what I expected, after 5 years of marriage, I had never been pregnant. But Jason never seemed to be in a hurry. He always comforted me, telling me not to be stressed and to let everything happen naturally. I also thought of the car accident 6 years ago. Jason saved my life regardless of everything. But he never used that incident to morally bind me. Nor did he let me feel the slightest guilt towards him. Regarding the issue of having children, he was calm and indifferent, without complaining or lamenting. When facing accidents and dangers, he was fearless and unrestrained, bright and carefree. Once, he made me so intoxicated. As you think during the day, so you dream at night. I've been having the same dream these days. In the morning, I told Jason, I dreamed that I gave birth to a beautiful daughter. She called you daddy in a milky voice. Hearing this, Jason, with the toothpaste foam still on his face, excitedly ran towards me and hugged me tightly in his arms. Wife, this is a good omen. Maybe I'll be able to be a father soon. I smiled with my eyes and lips. Why don't you name the baby in advance? Jason highly agreed with my suggestion. Good idea, wife. Once the name is chosen, the baby should come soon. Jason was enthusiastic about it. He spent several days, looking through Chinois dictionary, the book of songs, the songs of Chu, and 300 Tang poems, etc., and came up with hundreds of names on a notebook. In the evening, he pulled me to carefully read and seriously ponder the implications of each name one by one. Finally, for various reasons, he rejected them one by one. He waved his hand. No. The name of my baby must be nice to hear, easy to pronounce, and most importantly, have the best implication. Let the professionals handle professional matters. Finally, he spent a lot of money, paying 10,000 yuan to ask a master to come up with 2 names. The girl would be called Xie Xian, and the boy would be called Xie Sinian. I smiled gently. Nice. What about the nickname? I thought he would search through books again and rack his brains to come up with a special nickname. Who knew that? Jason blurted out, Bebe. The nickname is Bebe. My sweetheart, it can be used for both boys and girls. I started this, and in the following days, Jason was like being possessed. He was completely immersed in the role of a new father and couldn't extricate himself. He started to build a children's room. He spent a week drawing design sketches, designing the children's room into a small castle. He started to browse online, carefully selecting furniture from one store to another. Once, it was snowing heavily outside, and the world was covered in ice and snow. He heard that a certain brand in the offline furniture city had newly introduced a batch of extremely healthy and environmentally friendly children's furniture and wanted to go and have a look. I said we could go another day since the weather was bad. But he insisted on going. When he came back, he had a smile on his brow and said in a casual tone, "On the overpass, the car skidded and almost had an accident." He was talking while installing a smart monitor in the children's room. His casual tone was as if he was talking about someone else's business. Jason was just like a professional daddy, taking out the serious attitude he had towards work and starting to make plans for the baby in advance. "Wife, I'm going to open a special account for the baby in advance. I'll deposit a sum of money into it regularly every month. When the baby grows up, this money will be at the baby's free disposal." I pursed my lips and smiled, giving strong support. This is a great idea. As a toy product designer, Jason took out his special skills and prepared a grand finale gift for the baby. "Nora, I'm going to prepare 18 years of birthday gifts for the baby in advance. Each one should be very unique and meaningful. I'm also going to write 18 letters to the baby. Paired with the birthday gifts I made myself, the baby will surely be very moved when the time comes." Besides work, Jason was drawing design drafts every day. New and novel inspirations and ideas were bursting out, and he was enjoying sharing them with me without getting tired of it. I provided emotional support at the right time. "Jason, you will surely be an excellent father." There was a happy smile on his lips, and his eyes were full of anticipation. When I was doing exercise, I found that Jason was also holding dumbbells and working out with me. He used to exercise in the gym before. I thought he wanted to save the time on the way, but when I observed more carefully, I realized that his posture was a bit strange. He was carefully swinging 2 dumbbells back and forth. I looked puzzled. "Jason, which muscles are you exercising?" He said with a grin, "Wife, I'm using the dumbbells to simulate a baby. I'm learning in advance how to hold a baby and how to gently rock the baby." "Doesn't it look quite like the real thing?" After hearing his words, I froze. I was certain that Jason wasn't just putting on an act. He was really into it. He read books with me every day, all kinds of parenting books. He also bought many children's storybooks and tried to tell me bedtime stories every night. Sometimes, when he talked to me, he even used reduplicated words with a cutesy voice. Jason was really obsessed. If it weren't for my sudden stomach discomfort at night, I was also about to press the pause button on this seemingly harmonious and beautiful life that was like a dream. 13 in the middle of the night, I suddenly had a stomachache. When I got up to go to the bathroom, I found that the other side of the bed was empty. I touched the sheet next to me. It was cold. After coming out of the bathroom and walking into the living room, I saw a faint beam of light shining through the crack of the study door. I could only hear Jason talking on the phone in a low voice, his voice tense yet full of endless tenderness. "Be good, don't be afraid. I'm here. Is there a lot of bleeding? I've checked. We just went for an examination yesterday. There shouldn't be any big problems. By the way, remember to report to me every day by checking in on the 10 precautions I listed for you, baby. Be obedient, be good, don't eat anything cold, okay?" The patience and doting in Jason's tone were probably not even noticed by himself. He was clearly coaxing a little girl. In the dead of night, I could clearly hear the other person's voice. It was Scarlett. She sobbed and said, "There's so much blood. I'm so scared, Jason. I've strictly followed the list you made and done everything obediently. I didn't eat anything cold. I'm so afraid of losing the baby. She's already like a little person. I have a hunch that it will be a lovely daughter. I'm really afraid of losing her." As she was talking, Scarlett started crying woo, woo, on the other end. My stomach continued to hurt. I supported myself against the wall and walked into the bedroom. Even though I had already made up my mind, my heart still ached when I heard these words. Men are really complicated creatures. Sometimes, it seems that he loves you, sometimes, it seems that he doesn't love you at all. He will be nice to you, and he will also be nice to other women. Isn't he really tired? Anyway, I'm so tired. I feel like I built the Great Wall all by myself last night. My stomach hurts in waves, as if I'm about to get my period. When Jason hurriedly pushed the door open and came in, I was huddled under the quilt, sweating all over from the pain. He didn't even look at me and said in a hurry, "Nora, Cruz is drunk. I have to go and pick him up." Cruz was his good buddy. I endured the pain and begged weakly, "I have a severe stomachache. Can you please take me to the hospital first? Hearing this, Jason quickly walked out of the room. Soon, he came in with a glass of water. Nora, I've made you a cup of stomach-nourishing tea. Drink it quickly. You'll feel better soon. I shook my head. It's not my stomach. It's my lower abdomen that hurts. Please take me to the hospital quickly. Jason frowned tightly, patted my body through the quilt, and his tone was impatient. Nora, don't be willfulness. I really have an urgent matter to deal with right now. If your stomach hurts, just drink some hot water and you'll be fine. Ignoring my words, Jason picked up his coat and was about to go out. I'm pregnant. With the severe pain in my stomach, when I managed to say these 3 words weakly, Jason, who was preoccupied with Scarlett, didn't hear a single word. Accompanied by the sound of the door slamming shut with a bang, big teardrops, like beads that had fallen off a string, rolled down one after another. I thought I could handle it calmly, but I still couldn't hold back. I hugged myself tightly. The pillow and the quilt were soaked in a large area. The grievances, irritations, and angers that had been suppressed for a long time all burst out at this moment along with the pain in my body. My body was like a balloon full of holes, gradually deflating with each teardrop that rolled down. After crying heartily, my body and mind seemed to have been baptized anew, and my heart was calmer than ever before. The last time, Jason. When you wake up in the middle of the night and recall all the things you've done when you know the truth, each and everything will be an invisible sharp blade. Chloe rushed over when she heard that I was in the hospital. I told her, I lost the baby. The hand that was pouring water for me froze immediately. She knew that I had finally launched my final counterattack. When I told her about my plan, Chloe hugged me, crying and giving me a thumbs up. Nora, you've been so wronged. Nora, I really admire you. I'll always support you. During this period, Jason had shared a lot of things he had done for me and for the future baby on his WeChat moments. When Chloe was chatting with me, she was always worried that I might be soft-hearted and forgive him. I said, when a woman doesn't cry, doesn't make a fuss, and doesn't bother with him, it means that he has completely lost her. Chloe was stunned for a moment. She sat on the edge of the bed, held my hand, and said with a look of heartache, Nora, this time, let me be the one to protect you from behind. I held Chloe's hand back, and tears flowed down like a flood breaking through a dam. Okay. Chloe wiped my tears while crying, Nora, I always feel that Jason's acquaintance with you from the very beginning was a long-planned conspiracy. Such a nice you. He not only doesn't cherish you but also hurts you like this. He will surely get what he deserves. From now on, I'll kneel in front of God every night to expose his evil deeds until the day when God opens his eyes. Looking at Chloe, who was more excited than I, the person involved, a warm current flowed into my heart. The poor little girl who was bullied by her stepmother had grown up. I met Chloe in junior high school. She was a transfer student and later became my deskmate. I accidentally noticed that her arms were often bruised. Later, I learned that it was because her stepmother abused her. I was brought up by my grandmother. When I was a kid, I was as naughty as a monkey. Hearing about this, I was filled with righteous indignation and wanted to teach her stepmother a lesson for Chloe. Her house didn't have a courtyard wall back then. I took advantage of her stepmother's inattention, grabbed a handful of sheep dung pellets, and put them into the meal she had just cooked. Or, I secretly stuffed a dead mouse into her stepmother's shoes. Back then, being young, I didn't know that these childish tricks could only anger her stepmother at most and couldn't really hurt her. What's more, Chloe was even wrongly accused by her stepmother and beaten even harder. My little brain was working hard. I had to defeat her with one move. Once, I got an inspiration while watching TV. I anonymously wrote a touching letter about her stepmother's affair with the neighbor Lao Lu and secretly sent it to Chloe's father's workplace. Chloe's father was so angry that he beat her up and drove her away. Later, Chloe and I went to high school and college together, worked and settled down in the same city. With the passage of time, our relatives left us one after another, but our friendship grew deeper and deeper. I wiped my tears and gave Chloe a bright smile. It's so nice to have you. Love is a lamp, and friendship is a shadow. When the lamp goes out, that good friend who is always by my side like a shadow is the one who gives me strength in the end. I had originally planned to come to the hospital to make an appointment for an abortion surgery these 2 days. Because Jason was immersed in playing the role of a good father every day, completely obsessed, it was time to put an end to this. Perhaps God also sensed my feelings and took the initiative to help me. When the doctor asked me, there are signs of miscarriage. Immediate pregnancy preservation is needed. Do you want to do it? At this moment, all I could think of was that new WeChat moment posted by Scarlett, loving someone is uncontrollable. Baby, we love you. Followed by cute little emojis of a family of 3. The attached picture showed her with her big bare belly, and the man was lying on her belly, gently listening to the baby's heartbeat with his side face shown. The lipstick mark on the man's neck was big and red. I recognized him as Jason at a glance. Because the side mirror beside reflected his side face, I knew that Scarlett had really gone all out. I also did as she wished and commented below, "Wish you happiness." This time, I truly wished them well. Coming back to my thoughts, I replied to the doctor firmly, "No need to preserve the pregnancy." The next day, after the examination, the doctor said to me happily, it was a natural miscarriage, and the endometrium was shed very cleanly. You don't need to suffer from a dilation and curettage. This is the type of miscarriage that causes the least harm to the body. Your baby loves you and chose to leave on its own initiative. Hearing this, my nose felt a bit sour. Thank you, my dear baby. For 5 years, Mom had been looking forward to your arrival day and night. However, people's hearts change in an instant. Rather than letting you come into such a broken family as soon as you are born, it's better that you never came into this world. Mom is sorry to you. Blame it on our lack of fate together. I asked the doctor with a choked voice, could it be caused by the perforated stomach ulcer last time? The doctor quickly brought up my medical record report from last time, probably not. Last time it was treated conservatively. During the subsequent re-examination, all the indicators during your pregnancy were good. I let out a sigh of relief. Thank you, baby. You helped Mom silently in the dark. It was a month later when Jason found me again. Since I had been posting my articles on social platforms and received good feedback from readers, I had accumulated a certain reputation. Some time ago, I received an invitation to contribute from a publishing house with very good benefits in all aspects. I had worked really hard in the previous few years and had substantial savings. Considering my future development direction and also to focus on creating calmly, I resigned from my original job and went to an ancient town in the south with a pleasant environment to start a freelance traveling and living life. I asked Chloe to let him know about this. Because I wanted to talk to him about the divorce. Nora, it was drizzling outside. I was just about to open the door after folding my umbrella when suddenly a male voice came from under the flower vines beside the corridor. If it weren't for the voice being too familiar, I wouldn't have recognized him as Jason at all. I didn't know what Jason had gone through. I only saw that he, who had always been tall, handsome, and with a straight back, now looked haggard like a stray dog. He had lost a lot of weight. His usually clean and straight suit was now wrinkled, and there were mottled mud stains on his white shirt. His face was unshaven, his hair was messy, and he seemed as if he had been pickled in a pickle jar, looking listless. Jason looked at me with complicated eyes, a mixture of guilt and indescribable joy. He wanted to come forward and hug me. I dodged. He called my name dejectedly, continuously apologizing to me, Nora, I've been looking for you so hard. Sorry. I wasn't affected by his emotions. I opened the door, took out the divorce agreement that I had already prepared on the shoe cabinet, and handed it to him. Jason, look at the divorce agreement. If there are any problems, we can discuss them. Jason was stunned for a moment, and his face immediately showed disappointment. Obviously, he didn't expect that I would be so decisive. He didn't take the document. With trembling hands, he wanted to come and hold me, his voice choked. Nora, could you please give me one more chance? I've completely broken off with Scarlett. I'm sorry to you. I was being stupid. At first, I was completely blinded by my first love complex and went to see her like being possessed. I was wrong. When I was with her, I found that you were on my mind all the time. You when you were happy, you when you were quiet, you when you were angry. I've completely understood my own heart. I love you. Towards Scarlett, I only have unwillingness and sympathy, no love anymore. You left, and you stole my heart too. Looking at all the things I prepared for the baby, but you weren't there. I felt like an empty shell without a soul. I couldn't eat, sleep, or sit still. I just wanted to see you soon. Saying that, Jason hurriedly took out his phone. Nora, look, I've deleted all the contact information related to Scarlett. I swear, I'll be good to you for the rest of my life. I couldn't help but sneer. Jason, don't be so childish. Once feelings have changed, they can never go back to the way they were. I'm not a 3-year-old kid, nor am I a silly and naive girl who will happily continue to be with you just because you coax me. Once I've decided something, not even 9 oxes can pull me back. You know my character best. I can't tolerate even a grain of sand in my eyes. I have a serious emotional cleanliness. I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than settle or compromise. Seeing that I had made up my mind, Jason was very panicked. He quickly took out a piece of paper from the inside pocket of his clothes with great care. Nora, you're pregnant. You were already pregnant when you were hospitalized for stomach discomfort last time. Alas, I was so careless that I only found out about this later. You're going to be a mom, and I'm going to be a dad. This is the child we've been looking forward to for 5 years. We're finally complete. Please don't get divorced. Please, you said last time that you dreamed of being pregnant, which was already giving me a hint. Damn it, I didn't notice a single clue at all. Saying that, Jason raised his hand and slapped himself hard. Nora, please give me one more chance, okay? Just one more time. I looked coldly at this man's performance in front of me, which was clumsy and ridiculous. One more time. Jason, I've already given you many chances. For times I was going to tell you that I was pregnant, but each time I was about to open my mouth, because of Scarlett, you missed it. The last time, that night when I had a severe stomachache and asked you to take me to the hospital, you told me not to be willful and said that drinking some hot water would make me feel better. I told you that I was pregnant, but you were so preoccupied with Scarlett that you abandoned me and didn't hear a single word I said. It said that things shouldn't be repeated more than 3 times, but I gave you 5 chances. And you didn't cherish any of them. Whose fault is it? Now that you've finally come to your senses, should I forgive you? For what reason? I've already repaid the debt of saving my life that you did back then. So far, we're even. I took the examination report from his hand, waved it at him, and then tore it into pieces expressionlessly. The baby is gone. Actually, my examination report was placed on the shoe cabinet by the door, visible at a glance, but he hadn't even looked at it. Hearing this, Jason was like being struck by lightning. He froze instantly and asked me with a sob in his voice, "Why? Why, Nora? That was our baby." I asked him sarcastically, "Why?" "Of course it's because of you. You know that I have a cleanliness fetish. I will never use something that has been used by others, and it's the same for my baby." Hearing this, Jason's dull eyes suddenly flickered. It seemed that he thought of something. He grabbed my arm and begged me like crazy, "Nora, I got it. Spraying alcohol, right? I'll listen to whatever you say from now on. When I come back from outside, I'll spray alcohol all over myself. Let's get back together, okay?" I replied firmly, "No." His eyes turned red. "Then what do you want to do?" "I promise to make you satisfied." I sneered and looked up. "It's easy. Take out your heart and spray it with alcohol to disinfect it." Finally, Jason still signed the divorce agreement. To show his determination, he swore to the sky, "Nora, I will definitely win you back. Wait for me." I silently closed the door. Silence doesn't mean there are no emotions. It's just that there's no point in saying anything more. Days passed quietly like this. One afternoon, while I was reading a book, the Smart Monitor app on my phone suddenly popped up an alarm message. I clicked on it and saw that Jason was like a puppet without a soul, spraying alcohol everywhere, wiping the children's room, and then opening a letter he wrote to the baby, crying bitterly while reading it. Scarlett was crying hysterically beside him. "Jason, wake up. Nora will never come back." Jason was distracted and talking to himself. "Yes, she will. My Nora will definitely come back. I dreamed that she came back last night." Scarlett pointed at Jason's nose and laughed loudly. "Nora is such a proud and arrogant person. She can't tolerate even a speck of dust in her eyes. You slept with me. Do you think she'll still want you? Stop pretending to be affectionate in front of me. I'm not Nora. Don't you think I don't know? You created opportunities to meet Nora by chance back then. Wasn't it because the fortune teller told you that she was your lucky star? Now it seems that it wasn't that great after all." Jason stared at Scarlett fiercely, his eyes full of hatred. "I love Nora. At first, it might have been because I believed the fortune teller, but the more time passed, the more I realized that I truly love Nora." "Scarlett, you're so vicious. You deliberately let Nora see your WeChat moments and deliberately forced her to leave me. I hate you. Get out of here." Scarlett threw her head back and laughed wildly. "Yes, I did it on purpose. Who told her not to give up her place willingly? I have a clear conscience. I'm just taking back what I lost." Slap, slap. Jason slapped Scarlett twice, making her stagger and almost fall to the ground. Scarlett held her belly, managed to stand still with difficulty, looked around, and sneered with her neck stuck out. "Hee hee, Jason, your baby is gone. What's the use of you guarding this pile of junk?" Jason's eyes were wide open with anger. He grabbed Scarlett's shoulders tightly and shook her crazily. "Don't you dare say that. Don't you dare say that. Our baby is still there. She's still in Nora's belly. I'm going to take them home." Scarlett finally managed to break free from the restraint and coaxed him. "Jason, I'm the only one left for you. Only I, Scarlett, am willing to stay by your side. No, and there's also the baby in my belly. Since you like kids so much, let's call her Bebe from now on, okay?" Hearing this, Jason's eyes suddenly turned bloodshot, like an enraged lion, with crazy eyes. He kicked Scarlett in the belly and roared in Bunque, "No, no, no. Only the baby of me and Nora is Bebe. Yours is a devil. It's all because of you that I lost Nora and our baby." Woo, woo, the video in the monitor suddenly cut off. I then suddenly realized that I had forgotten to delete this app. I learned about what happened to Scarlett and Jason later from Chloe. As the chief editor of local social media news in Yincheng, Chloe had very good sources of information. She first sent a video. Before I could open it, her video call came directly. Chloe on the other end of the camera was extremely excited. "Nora, God has opened his eyes. My prayers have come true. The scumbag and the slut have finally got their comeuppance." It turned out that after being kicked by Jason, Scarlett had a massive hemorrhage and a miscarriage, and her uterus was removed. She could never have children again. Scarlett didn't let it go either. She packaged the content of Jason's affair, including text and pictures, and sent it to the email of Jason's head office. Jason was fired and became notorious in the industry. After Chloe finished talking nonstop, she asked me what I thought. I said calmly, "It's like watching a drama and seeing a perfect ending. I feel quite relieved inside. I'm not a saint, but I'm not a petty person either." Once the anger that had been pent up in my heart was released, I let it go. The days of traveling and living were peaceful and fulfilling. Besides writing manuscripts, I took photos and posted notes. I gained 160,000 followers on Xiaohongshu in a month. The pictures I took were of high quality, and my words could resonate strongly with readers. Working as a part-time blogger brought me substantial income every month. The feeling of supporting myself with my interests is really cool. Virginia Woolf said, "I hope you can earn enough money by writing books or other means to travel around, to do nothing, to think about the future or the past of the world, to read books, to dream or to wander around the streets, letting the fishing line of thought sink deeply into the stream." At this point, I deeply understood the beauty of this sentence. I lived the slow life of a freelancer that I had once dreamed of. Later, I cut off my long hair that I had kept for 6 years and moved to a new place for traveling and living. Freedom increased my sense of saturation with the world. I rarely thought about the past events anymore. Chloe was still like a lovely little bird, chirping to me every now and then to share some interesting anecdotes from her life. But the carefree her would always earnestly tell me, "Nora, you must pay attention to your safety when you're alone. Don't go out at night, and don't turn off your phone." I felt that there was something more to her words, but I didn't ask too much and just obediently did as she said. Time slipped by quietly. Leaning on the railing and looking into the distance, the cherry blossoms on the roadside were smiling. A magpie flew over my head, chirping crisply, as if it was bringing me good news. After taking a satisfying nap, I made a cup of coffee and sat on the balcony, enjoying the scenery while scrolling through my phone. Suddenly, a video popped up in the headline news. Hashtag recognizing relatives is a common trick of human traffickers. Everyone must be vigilant. Hashtag in the video, a tall man with disheveled hair and a scruffy beard, whose face couldn't be clearly seen. When he saw someone else's child on the road, he cried and said that it was his baby and tried to take the child away by force. In the comments, some people said that he was a human trafficker in disguise. A woman with a long-haired back view avatar was especially excited. She commented, "I've seen this man. In Juha ancient town, that day he suddenly grabbed me from behind and knelt in front of me, shouting at me, 'Juha ancient town? Isn't that where I am?'" I took a screenshot from the video and enlarged the screen. This man seemed a bit familiar. Suddenly, Chloe called. There was unconcealed happiness in her tone. "Good news from the front. The dangerous person Jason has successfully been admitted to a mental hospital." I was confused. "Ah? Is this what you were carefully warning me about every time before?" Chloe excitedly interrupted me. "Right, Nora. Let me speak first. Before, I was afraid that you'd be scared if I told you too much, so I could only tell you to be extremely careful. Now I can finally feel at ease." A warm current gushed into my heart. "Chloe, it was you who sent that video of Jason as a human trafficker, and you even hired a marketing company to promote it, right?" She giggled. "Not just that. I was the one who told Scarlett the password to Jason's house too. I might as well be a good Samaritan all the way." Chloe cleared her throat. Okay. Let's put all these unpleasant things behind us. No more talking about them. Today is such a wonderful day." She paused for a moment and, changing from her usual carefree style, said to me in a refined way, "Nora, you deserve all the beauty in this world. May you pursue what you love passionately every year of your life." Her bright laughter rang out. It was so familiar to my eardrums. Huh? Why did it sound so close? I suddenly turned my head. In the bright sunshine, under the glorious cherry blossom tree, there stood the one I loved most. Tears instantly filled my eyes. "Chloe, how did you get here?" Chloe was smiling as brightly as the cherry blossoms. "I missed you." We laughed and ran towards each other in tacit understanding, hugging each other tightly. As the breeze blew, cherry blossom petals gently landed on our hair. "Happy birthday, Nora." "Happy birthday, Chloe." Yes, we are like a pair of sisters from different fathers and mothers in this world. We were originally lonely and helpless until we met each other. We are the light for each other.